Howdy, Bucks Island. We are here again, Michael and Dano, with another Bucks Island on tour. And it's been a brief minute, but Dan, you made the trek up north, hanging out in New York, not Times Square, New York, but
No.
what most of us would probably prefer, the better side. So what you been up to?
We drove the 16, 17, 18 hours, whatever it was, to Clayton, New York, St. Lawrence River, where Lake Ontario goes out to the Atlantic Ocean. Smallmouth tournament. It's been the site of many impressive Bassmaster tournaments. This was a Bassmaster Elite Series. This one may be the impressive one yet. I've been witness to some pretty amazing things covering tournaments. I remember Clear Lake 2007. Steve Kennedy won with 122 pounds, 10 ounces. He was place on day one with 20 pounds and an ounce. 20 pounds and an ounce wasn't even in the cut tournament after day one. In fact, Wes Logan finished the tournament in fifth place, didn't make the cut, and he was 20 pounds and an ounce each day. It's one of the most remarkable things I've seen, because they tend not to weigh as much as largemouth. And there were more 5+ pound fish caught in this tournament than there were 3+ pound fish weighed in.
Wow.
It was absolutely unreal. I mean, and it was out and catches one big one and has 3 or 4 small ones. It was all, I mean, the big fish of the tournament was like 6 pounds, 12 ounces, which is a big fish. But Jay Przekurant, rookie, youngest guy in the history of Bassmaster, just turned 23 in the last month, beat Casey Ashley's record, who was 23 and change, but mid-change and young change. And he's got the heaviest winning weight for a 4-day tournament in a smallmouth tournament in Bassmaster history, 102 pounds, 9 ounces. So 25 plus a day smallmouth. And there was a second angler with 100 pounds. Corey Johnston was 100 pounds, 9 ounces, or 100 pounds. That. But everybody on the final day of the tournament ended up with 20 pound. There was nothing under 20 pounds weighed in for the whole final, the top 10. It was amazing.
Wow. So I know you had a chance to catch an interview with them. Before we jump into that, okay, some I guess large average, or an average of large. How about numbers? Were these guys? I mean, was it? Hey, they were only catching that right
No.
6, 5? No.
I talked to Lee Livesey during one of my video interviews with him. Afterwards, actually, I reporting 30 to 40 fish. There were guys reporting up to 100 fish.
So what you're saying is, we got folks around here that need to plan a little trip to New York.
Yeah, Clayton, New York. We stayed at the Thousand Island Campgrounds, Alexandria Bay. Going out of they went out of the Antique Boat Harbor, but there's boat launches all over the place. But yeah, it was unreal. I remember that Clear Lake tournament, and I was doing some writing for ESPN Communications at the time. That's who owned Bass at the time. I was helping write the game day story department. And if a age and he didn't have 26 pounds, we didn't even talk to him.
Wow.
It was like, if a guy didn't have 23, 24 pounds of smallmouth bass, we weren't talking to him.
Wow.
It was absolutely unreal. Making 50-mile runs out into Ontario to the west. They could fish the American side and the Canadian side this year. And Jay Przekurant, I don't think he was very far. 20 miles was his run, but it the perfect storm of everything that came together. Their post spawn, just kind of getting set up out there, and it was the only time I think I've seen in these Great Lakes types tournaments where there wasn't any wind.
Wow.
I mean, 10-mile-an-hour wind was it, and that was the first day of the tournament. And so these guys could run wherever they wanted to. They could see what they needed to throw to, and just stupid. Just, I mean, jaw-dropping. Can't believe I got to witness another one of these types of things in my capacity of covering these tournaments over the years. The only other one that would have been even more amazing to me would have been to be there at Falcon Lake when the 132 pounds won that tournament with Paul Elias. But cool. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. And to think about it, most of the fish were caught on light line. There was some big heavy line fishing going on. I talked to, two-time Bassmaster Classic champion. He actually had figured out on day 2, and he didn't make the cut either, but he was like 18, 19 a day and didn't. He figured out that where the current seams washed up against like an underwater boulder or something in shallow water, he could throw a bladed jig or something like that. He actually had a smallmouth straighten the hook on his Picasso shock blade, and it just tore it open and came off, and you just don't see smallmouth like that very often. And Chris Zaldane was throwing a bladed jig some, but the majority of this was done on light line, small baits, and Przekurat goes into it here.
All right.
In our interview.
All right. Well, let's roll that interview.
Jay, youngest man to win an Elite Series event, it looks like, and smallmouth Century Club belt.
Yeah, wow. Pretty unbelievable.
What, first of all, I talked to your dad earlier, and he said that you had been dreaming of this for a while. You've been working towards it.
Yeah.
What's it mean? Because I guess about 16 years old, you decided this is what you wanted to do. Maybe even earlier. What's it mean?
Everything. My whole life is fishing, besides my girlfriend. It's basically my girlfriend and fishing, and then I worked for a while. I still work, but to actually win an Elite Series tournament in my first year, I didn't think it was even close to being possible, to be honest with you. And it'll sink in tonight or tomorrow. But right now, it's just exciting.
What's it mean to have everybody show up, drive up here today?
Like they drove the whole night, and I mean, this might not happen, in 3 years, 4 years, who knows? I mean, this is unreal, and they drove here to get here, and I won. Wow. Pretty speechless, to be honest.
All right, let's turn to the fishing. What area of the lake did you concentrate on?
I fished on the U.S. side of Lake Ontario, and I had 2 spots over there, and those 2 spots accumulated to my 4-day weight over 4 days off of 2 areas. And I found the 2 spots in practice, and I didn't think much of it. I mean, I knew they were good areas. I didn't know the potential, and I think it was after day 2 I figured out the potential of those areas. And wow, crazy.
So what was the pattern?
The pattern was you had to find bait, and you had to find a big group of fish. Like, I had groups of fish that were, my first group that I caught all my fish on day 1, that group was 200 plus fish in a 100-yard stretch. I mean, it was nuts. Like, every cast you were making, you were casting at some kind of bass. The problem with that spot was they just got a little finicky on me after day 2. They didn't commit as much. They were getting educated, especially with the calm weather. And that's when I expanded onto my secondary area that I found in practice. And I didn't know the potential of that until I got there. And when I could see them all swimming around, that's when I knew that I had a legitimate shot to win.
Rod, reel, line, bait setup?
Bait was a drop shot all week, striking half shell in green pumpkin. I wanted it as natural as I could get it in this jet clear water. And rod and reel was a 610 Mark Zona Signature Series custom light. Or it was paired with a custom light Luz reel, a new spinning reel that Luz is coming out with, and a 10-pound braid to 8-pound leader.
What's the? I know drags are big up here, being able to control those fish, and that new reel's got a pretty good one.
That drag is pretty amazing. That's the only reason I landed probably 3 or 4 fish that I can think of, because if you don't have a good drag on those fish, these are the hardest fighting fish I've ever fought, and if you don't have something that's good like that, you're probably going to end up losing them or breaking them off.
What was it about the half shell that made you stick with that all week?
It's just super natural, and it doesn't have a ton of action. I didn't want anything that had a ton of action or that was long. I wanted a bait that was really short and that was almost see-through. And that green pumpkin one in this clear water, you can almost see right through it. And with that coffee scent and a little bit of salt in there, I think helped a little bit. But for the most part, I tried a lot of baits, and for whatever reason, everyone I watched a lot of fish eat that half shell, and they would not let it go. I mean, when they ate it, and I hooked so many fish and never lost. I mean, I lost a few, but to have the ratio that I did to landing fish was pretty insane with that bait.
Well, congratulations, man, on a great week.
Well, so guys, I hope you at least picked up some sounds like some smallmouth tips. What, if anything, I mean, this is definitely a pretty stark contrast from what we see around here in our region in Alabama. What's some of the ideas, the lessons learned that we can bring back here?
I think Jay's interview, the thing that everybody has to have when they go up there is called a Berkeley flatworm, and they call it smallmouth crack, but it is because it's got a scent to it, and it's got gulp, it's max scent, whatever it is, and everybody's got. For a while there, they were going for $50 worms on eBay. Guys just had to have it because it was winning tournaments. But he wins it on a Strike King half shell, which is another drop shot bait. And what I would say is have an open mind. He never mentioned anything about scent, although the half shell comes in coffee scent. But a lot of times just be prepared to experiment a little bit with something. Don't get stuck in your mind that this is the only body of water, and maybe you'll find something different that really does put something together that's different for you that the rest of the field is not doing, and just might catch you a few more fish. But as far as what we can apply to the Coosa River or Gunnersville or any of those, I just don't think you're ever going to see this again.
Well, sometimes the only answer is if you want to go fish this way, well, plan that trip and go check out these lakes. Maybe that sounds like a pretty awesome venture for some guys. So, so you are not done with the Northern Swing. You're just getting started.
Just get on one. We've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more events that we'll be covering before we come home, and that takes us all the way. We bounce all over New York a little bit, and then across to South Dakota, Wisconsin, and then off to before we come home.
All right. Well,
so we got 5 more of these to do.
Man, well, Dan, thanks for taking the time and jumping in and getting us some scoop on this. It's fun to see you kind of giddy about getting to watch an event like this. It shows how much you love it, and that really comes through. So be safe in your travels, and I guess we'll get to another. Well, we got a bunch of them here to get through in the coming weeks.
We will.
So, guys,
this
thanks
week.
Say again.
I cast this week. I'll be flying out tomorrow morning, which ICAST might already be starting, but flying out tomorrow, meeting Israel and Colin down there. We'll find some of the new stuff. A few videos to Michael that he can post on the Bucks Island page. Busy time. And then actually going to maybe some fishing myself on the lower Niagara River this week. Or next week.
Well, that'd be crazy. You actually getting time to go fishing. Well, guys, we'll get what we can from ICAST, see what kind of new products are going on. I'd encourage you, especially over the coming weeks. I know Dan will be posting some stuff on an Advanced Angler and you know, kind of see his travels as he's kind of full on fishing mode for the next few weeks. But guys, hope you got something out of it, and yeah, stay tuned. Who knows what'll happen with the next big tournament? Maybe it'll be another record breaker.
Tackle Warehouse at Lake Champlain will be next, and that's the following week. So we'll do one from there too.
All right, guys. We will talk to you guys in the next one. See ya.
Bye.